Alright, welcome back to Talking with Faith. This is part 3 of the transgender conversation. And this is the part where I want to talk about feelings, sort of. And not sort of, I do want to talk about feelings. One thing that I've been saying on my channel for quite a while now, and I recently made a channel trailer where I reiterated the point, is that the core message of Talking with Faith people is there's nothing wrong with you, whoever you are. There's nothing wrong with you. People are going to try to diagnose you and tell you something fucking wrong with you. The last hour of our conversation, I've been saying there's something wrong with transgenderism, right? At least as a policy matter. So one of the things that famous person Tiffany told me was that, and I just told me this just yesterday or the day before, I don't know, that had a big impact. So, yeah, she self-identifies as Tiffany and requests that I refer to her with female pronouns, which I'm doing in this video because it's about feelings, not about the ideas in the abstract, right? So, I mean, my position on that is when I'm making these arguments, it is a struggle for me to reconcile those two things, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I have a lot of trouble reconciling those two things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with famous person Tiffany. And yet, I still maintain that the claim upon my pronouns is unjust.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I wouldn't, if I had to choose, I would choose there's nothing wrong with you every single time. For every single person who asks me. It's just that, and it's the same problem that the opposite side has, but they react to it in the opposite way. When we deal with individuals in the abstract, a population of people called transgender people who want to get transgender stuff done to them, we do what we have to do to understand sort of normative and policy decision-making stuff, but we necessarily fail to account for the individual and how this one individual is different than that one individual, even if they share the trait of transgender.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you guys think about that notion in general? The stuff I just said.
Well, I do disagree with portraying any community as a monolithic entity. I feel that it's detrimental to diversity, and as a result, we create shells of real human beings. We don't believe this individual is, for example, transgender unless they fulfill whatever prerequisites we believe are mandatory for them to be transgender. And
so when I was trying to make the distinction on one interesting thing that happened in this conversation, I tried to make the distinction on where the claim is being made. The claim being made to a personal address, it's legitimate. If it's made on a reference to a third party, it's not legitimate. He returned it to the matter of the feelings of the person, was the other person in the room, and how are they going to feel about it. And then the other argument, though, that he made was that
presence is key.
Yeah, but there was something else I was going for here. I forgot what that I caught me I was thinking was. But
Oh no.
so on my side, I was saying, well, we should parse it on this. You have consistently said, one thing you said was you wanted to make, you afforded more legitimacy to something that I didn't think was very important, which was that because he's not in op process, that he has less legitimate claim to those pronouns. And I agreed that he would experience less harms, and so that I would probably behave differently. I don't think it has really anything to do with the legitimacy of the claim. And if in fact the reasoning is correct, then we should afford him the same legitimacy.
I'm confused as to what you're asking.
Well, we're talking about famous person Tiffany, who is not up at all, who's male physically, who has a female fiance with whom she hopes to have children at some point. And so is not in the op process, but
so she hasn't started and has no intention of transitioning. Does she have any intention of transitioning post conception?
Potentially, but as Felix pointed out, she could save her sperm. But see, when I'm asked to change pronouns like that, that sounds very strange to me. A sentence where I say she could save her
Okay.
sperm.
Oh my God! I can't believe you remembered that.
She could ejaculate from her penis and save her sperm. That sounds very strange, right? It doesn't even make any sense.
Okay, I can understand like the grammatical conflict in that statement, just because we're raised thinking that no female has a penis.
Right.
Oh my God, I love that sentence so much. Just because we were raised thinking no female has a penis. Thank you so much. I want to make that my senior quote now. But the thing is here is that we were raised thinking no female has a penis. But why the fuck can't I have a dick and say I'm a girl?
Because Freud.
It's pointless. Like if it makes me happy, if it makes Tiffany happy, which Tiffany's a beautiful name, I applaud you on choosing that name, it's pretty. If it makes Tiffany happy to call her a girl and she could still have sex with her fiance and conceive a baby, and that's just how her life's gonna go, and if that's the sake for her happiness, you're gonna have to make some grammatical errors for Tiffany's happiness, then I think that's alright. And I'm just like, that's all
Okay, all right. I can see the point. You're right. Fine. I can see the point. As I said, the point is, I went into this figuring this is where I was going to end, but I like to fight things out first.
No, of course.
I want to see that shit fought out.
One of the things that I hate about modern day society and modern academia is this inherent distrust of conflict, like it's a bad thing. Like steel sharpens steel, pressure makes diamonds. Conflict has consistently pushed humanity to greater and greater heights.
Debate destroys their entire curriculum.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. You can't support that freaking liberal bullshit with debate in the room.
Wait, like, are you talking about like education as a whole,
Yeah,
or
if
our
you go
current
to a
model?
university,
Okay, yeah, that-
a liberal arts class, and you allow actual debaters to actually get in there and start tearing apart the professor's ideas, they won't stand for 1 fucking second.
Well, that shit wouldn't happen in any scenario. Like, you put the debater in a history class in college, and they're going to start talking about how we're grossly enforcing colonial ideology.
Debate destroys personal relationships. If one of the partners is the debater and one isn't,
I don't know. I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for 2 years. She hates debate. She loves me, as far as I know.
Debate didn't destroy my relationship. Talking with famous people destroyed my relationship.
Oh, but referring back to the conversation of feelings, one of the things that I think is unique to the transgender discussion is the idea of the importance of emotional impacts regarding to the pronoun game. I don't get to say that you no longer can look at me as Hispanic. I am equal to you. You cannot pigeonhole me into any form.
That's a whole different discussion.
Well,
it's very similar.
I agree with the idea that the Hispanic community does have certain genetic tendencies which predispose me to diabetes, and as a result, I should have these issues addressed. However, I don't believe the societal impacts of me being addressed as Hispanic should be addressed. I don't think that I should get profiled if I'm not, if I don't have a shaved head and tattoos, just because I live in a poor neighborhood, I don't think I should get pulled over for supposedly repping someone.
A couple of things. I agree with you on saying that that your race shouldn't have any societal impact. I agree, but I also but I'm saying even if you did have a shaved head and tattoos, that doesn't subject you to any sort of profiling, inherently.
I think it does if they don't subject him to unjustified violence or coercion. I think it's illegal to profile people who look like they're up to no good.
Okay, number 2, what I'm gonna say next. The key difference here between the identifying as a different race debate and identifying as a different gender debate is heritage. It's okay, I know you're gonna say oh well, gender is in your blood as well. However, race is it's about culture, it's about heritage, and it's like your whole entire family is. I know you're shaking your head, but I completely disagree because my family's heritage and their culture has nothing to do with me wanting to be transgender. I don't want to be transgender, I'm just saying hypothetically.
Yeah.
However, if I woke up one day and wanted to identify as black, which I am part Hispanic, part white, probably most people see me as white, except white people who don't see me as white because I'm too brown for white people.
They see you as exotic.
Yeah, that too. But is the reason I can't wake up one day and say I'm black is because I have no sort of cultural ties or cultural knowledge, in fact, of an African American heritage that gives me any sort of right to identify as African American.
I'm African American. I claim such a right. I have good knowledge.
It's completely different. It's like if you're a transgender woman and you're hanging out with your family and let's say Felix, you woke up one day and wanted to be a woman. You're gonna be a Hispanic transgender woman.
Yeah.
Hispanic comes first. It's your race that comes before your sexuality, your gender identity, and all those things. If you're with your family and a transgender woman and you look like a transgender woman, you're gonna look like a transgender Mexican woman.
Race is not a real thing.
Okay, that's not the point. Okay, then if race isn't a real thing, then neither is gender identity.
I agree.
Then we're all arguing about policing what doesn't exist?
Sure, because it's like, just because I perceive you as a male or something, I agree that doesn't exist as a real thing, your gender identity, but then that doesn't give you good cause to complain when I call you whatever I want.
Because it doesn't exist, so there's no basis for justification.
Mine is no more false than yours. It's just that you prefer it. It's not a certain falsehood that I don't.
Don't worry about it.
That can't come out of there, or else we're going to get nothing but
Stop.
stuff and win.
You're right. I'm just like my face
I
is.
know, it's fucking hot.
But,
Okay,
Hold on, wait, we're at 11 minutes. Let me stop this because we're almost out of electricity on this, I bet. I need to plug it in.
Okay.
Okay.
And we talked this thing out. Let me just say this. First of all, Stephanie, there's nothing wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with me either. And
Not to those
this
statements.
issue, abstractly, we're on opposite sides. But in any actual real world encounter, we're on the same side. I think that's an important distinction because that's another message you're talking with trans people is we thresh out the ideas, not the people.
Abstractly, I'm on your side, Tiffany. That's all I have to say.
I applaud your effort because one of the things that I really dislike about our culture is we shun people who take a differentiated perspective. Like, I would rather us let Nazi people speak at the city capitol and have, I don't know, the Anti-Defamation League go there and question them on their logic and their ideology. I feel that is a much more effective method of combating ignorant idiots than not allowing them to speak at all. Like, exposing the stupidity does more of a benefit than hiding it, because mysticism entails curiosity, and curiosity breeds more racists.
That's a good point. You know, at first at the beginning of your little sentence there, I was like, what the fuck, no. And then at the end, I was like, actually, just kidding.
No, he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
In fact, my dad showed me a movie when I was a little kid about Skokie, Illinois, and the movie did exactly what happened to you. That's what he used that movie to do to me on purpose, which is he showed me the beginning part of the movie where it makes you mad at the Nazis, and then he paused the movie and he said, "So, what do you think? Should they let them march?" And I'm like, "Of course not," you know. And
Showed you the rest.
And then he showed me the rest of the movie, and he burned me like that. And that's how come I still remember stuff. And the point of it being, of course we want to expose all the ideas as much as possible. We don't want to suppress them because when they are out in the world, they have to compete against better ideas, and they lose.
Yeah.
And the mechanism by which people stop voicing offensive shit is shame.
And that's a bad thing. We shouldn't endorse shame.
It's an excellent thing. What are you talking about?
Shame is what keeps you from advocating your position in public and forcing yourself to say that.
I'm not kept from advocating it. What I'm saying is, if I were saying something that deserved to be shamed, then the shame I would feel would come naturally. Most of the shame is not about because the thing is offensive. It's because someone gets schooled in an internet debate, they get embarrassed, and then they don't make that stupid argument again.
But I think that the line between what should be shamed and what shouldn't is what lies along that line are things like being transgender, are things like sexuality issues, and that's why it's not a clear-cut thing.
Okay, but no, it is. What you're saying is this: that if in fact I were to go online and say, you know, fags are unnatural and should be hunted down and killed, that, or even if we don't, even if I exclude the violence that adds another component, but that they should be ostracized, that person who said that shouldn't be ashamed of it. They shouldn't be shamed for it. That's not true. We all disagree with that.
Yeah.
In fact, if that person were literally saying that stuff, they're going to be either dismissed forthright as a troll, or someone's going to call them out on their bullshit, right? Almost 100% of the time. And unless you are very highly determined to be hated, at a certain point, the negative feedback starts to wear you down, and you're going to start to change how you talk.
There's a reason fascist governments don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Well, inherently fascist.
I mean, the thing is that there's nothing more cleansing to the world than the exposure of all discourse to everybody else's scrutiny with the internet.
Yep.
Save the world.
That's why I really, really dislike like discourse police. People like that's one of the things that I really don't like about what is commonly perceived as political correctness. That it's inherently dismissive of problematic issues. Like, don't bring up slavery; it's not politically correct. Like you.
That's why I made a video called "Slavery Wasn't Racist."
It was a market decision.
Right. It obviously wasn't racist.
They didn't care who they were exploiting. They were exploiting whoever. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like,
you know, if racism was such a big problem, then are you saying that slavery is okay as long as it's not black people?
yeah, exactly. As long as it's diverse enough slavery, it's not a problem.
It's okay that slavery has adequate multiculturalism.
Exactly. Like, that is ludicrous. And that's some of the stuff that you can't engage in under the current interpretation of political correctness.
I know there aren't any takers. That's the problem. I can. I will go and handle any fucker who wants to come up and tell me about my language like that.
I love this.
And I'll school their ass in no uncertain terms. But you can't find a single goddamn one of them to come and take me on. They only want to take on fucking weak people who are willing to listen to this bullshit.
Wait, I want to say something. Okay, I agree with you guys on slavery's market decision. I completely agree that was their first and foremost
Plunder.
goal was to exploit one people or some people or whatever to
Plunder.
for the economy and for personal gain. However, the reason anyways, the reason slavery is inherently racist is because of the fact that white people have never been subject to such a torture.
Here they have.
It was
Okay, just for some reference, Germanic cultures in England, Judaic, like...
I'm wrong. But I'm talking about in the United States.
Yeah, like, I understand that the naturally colonialist paradigm of slavery is from a white European.
Justin wants to say something.
Guys.
White people are oppressed whenever they run out of creamer.
White people are what?
Oppressed when they run out of creamer at Starbucks.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this. You know how a lot of the slaves had kind of darker colored skin than a lot of the slave owners?
Yeah.
Complete coincidence. It was complete coincidence. It just so happened that the random people that selected to be slaves happened mathematically, it was a fluke. They all happened to be dark ones.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a fluke. I just think they were the easiest to subjugate due to lack of technological infrastructure.
No,
Hey,
but
black people, you should have advanced sooner. That's the message?
I don't
Well, I can't endorse that either, because that says that our investment was the right one.
No, I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying that's why we chose them, because they were less advanced.
Yeah, because it was a lot easier to enslave them than the Spanish Armada.
But I think that what like
Spanish Armada got enslaved by
I think that
Just
the Spanish Armada got enslaved by nature. I think that the reason it's racist is because not necessarily because black people just so happen to be the ones who were enslaved in the United States, but I think that because white people in the United States, fine, whatever about Jewish people and whatnot, in the United States, white people, I think that Irish people also were super...
Jews and Irish people aren't white.
Well, I mean,
Oh my
they
God.
have white skin. That's all that matters. They're all one people. All the white people look the same. But anyways, the point is, I don't like white people. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
My feelings are very hurt. Some people
Hey.
refer to me as a white person.
Sorry that you're historically the source of the majority of colonialism.
Look, I'm not white. I'm pinkish.
Okay, so like I guess we're getting a little off course. Let's
Yeah.
Let's go back to the feelings issue and transgender.
I forgot what we were talking about.
I guess the only way that I can reconcile my personal beliefs and the imposition of the pronoun game by others is I wouldn't like somebody to continuously refer to me as it. Thus, I would not feel comfortable continuously referring to somebody as he when they are not a he, they are a she. Just as I am not an it, I am a human.
Well, that's only so if you also have the sentence am equals self-identify as. So, I mean, given that, fine, I get you, but, you know, we're also in agreement that there's limits on your interpretation.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't think the it thing is exactly comparable. You guys calling him an object, you're just saying, you know.
I couldn't think of another pronoun which grossly distorts the emotional impact of a statement. Like,
okay, well,
the
what
way
if I
that
were to call you, instead of he, I were to say me every time? I were to co-opt your identity and make you become me. Would that be okay?
No.
only if you're saying something I don't agree with at that moment.
Now listen, when you're referring to yourself, I want you to use the word Eric instead of I, okay? Because I've decided to own both of us now.
Then I would have a lot of fun making a lot of really, like, rhetorically awful statements on Eric's behalf. That would be what I would do. A typical cynic's response.
Okay, well, so fine. Well, that wouldn't be caring about my feelings.
I know it wouldn't, and I know that my position.
That's a possible thing that actually happens, but
No, remember how we agree on limits? I feel that is going past the limit, whereas he, she, and unfortunately it are all under the limits.
What if so let's say I want to make up a new pronoun that doesn't exist at all. And
Okay.
I want to say, pronoun for me now is Georg.
Okay.
Georg. All right, let's make it 3 syllables to make it a little more hassle. Actually, let's make it
Kjorkevin.
Georgevin. You're right, okay? So you have to say, Eric went to the store. Yeah, Georgevin went to the store just about 5 minutes ago. Now, can I make that demand upon you?
I would say no, because there's no scientific basis or emotional basis or any reality or tangible thing I could look to that shows that Kjork interpretation exists. Like, I would give you the credit to say Apache helicopter before I gave you the credit to say Kjork, because at least I know what physically constitutes an Apache helicopter. Like, I don't know what constitutes Kjork.
No, I don't agree. I actually think the opposite. I'd allow you to refer to yourself as Kjork. I wasn't super paying attention, so I feel like I'm wrong. Then sorry, that's my bad. But anyways, I wouldn't I would first allow yourself to be referred to yourself as Kjork before a racial difference. Well, I mean a helicopter. If you're just saying helicopter, yeah. Oh, by the way, I have to pee at some point.
Okay, well, come on, Vegas.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I see Vegas in the
Let's
distance.
stop at a casino. We can pee. We can get gas. Yada yada.
We can gamble.
Okay, can I ask you something, Eric? You're libertarian, correct? That's not my
Correct.
question, but I just want to know.
Yeah.
Do you consider intellect a commodity?
No.
Okay, because I wanted to know, what your opinion on the civilizing mission is. Like, do we have an obligation to share our technology and our infrastructure with developing nations?
I don't think we have an obligation to share it. I think the problem there's no obligation to share. We have something close to an obligation to not prevent them from accessing.
So, don't stop them from going to our libraries, but don't give them our books either.
Right, that's fine. I mean, we don't have to give our book. We could if we wanted to. That's up to the individual.
I could jive with that.
I don't think it's necessarily a good. I don't think the government should be spending money on it. But I think that if we can get it for free or something, then it might be a good idea. If they want them, do they want the bucks?
I don't know. Sometimes I think about that question and I'm like, because there are places where they literally ingrain it in individuals that Western philosophy and Western ideology is bad. And they probably wouldn't want our books because they would think they were bad.
They don't want you to need them, though.
Yeah, in certain instances, there is Bless you. There is no alternative I could think of. Like, there is no translated version of Arabic algebra for me to send to Ethiopia. All I have is, sadly, the European model of algebra, which is a derivative of algebra, but is not algebra. Like,
Well, it's better than algebra because it's been fixed. That's what makes it derivative. It's not derivative. It's a bug. It's version
Purified?
2.2, version 2.0. They got the bugs out of it. It didn't work as a system very well until they fixed a couple of problems. It's not to denigrate Islamic version of it. It's just saying that they did come up with it first, but never the first version never fixed. You know?
yeah, it was a rough draft.
Yeah, it was a rough draft.
Like, they came up with the first rough draft, which is an accomplishment of itself, but it still needed editing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like, but, like, are you still understanding the parallel I'm trying to draw?
Not really.
Okay, so, like, the Egyptian, the French, like, Napoleon's, I can't remember what the work was called. When they went into Egypt, Napoleon basically brought botanists, philosophers, mathematicians to catalog and study what Egypt was for. And this was not created for the Egyptian, it was created for the French as a manual.
Vegas. This is not Vegas.
Oh no, this is stopped beforehand.
Yeah, this is the like
The state border.
near the state border. Yeah.
Damn it, where was I?
Sorry. Yeah, you were saying ENTP. Felix and I are both ENTPs, and we have the same problem. We cannot get through a whole sentence sometimes without forgetting the first part of the sentence.
And me too.
I know, you too, but
my
he's
God.
explaining it right now.
See, like that. Oh, that scares the shit out of me, Strauss.
Don't be scared. It doesn't ever change. It doesn't really get worse.
No, not that. The fact that. Remember our discussion about culpability and accountability? Like, I believe that the personality chart would open the door to culpability. Like, people no longer take responsibility for themselves because they can clearly show how they fall into this personality scheme, which defaults them to taking riskier behaviors.
And then I said in response, but that's not what people do in like actual life, right?
Yeah.
I said that people, the problem is that people are going around saying, finally I've got a way to behave in ways that are bad for me, but I can feel good about, you know? They know, a person knows whether the behavior is good for them or not. Whether they feel less bad about it because now they realize it's their nature, that's a good thing. It's the opposite. We have the opposite problem than what you're solving for. It's my claim here. Yeah, Justin. Yeah, we're going to in Vegas briefly. We're going to stop in Vegas to pee. You want to grab a bite to eat or whatever? And I'll probably,
Gamble?
probably go to the blackjack table and
Gamble for my money on Justin.
yeah, if you want me to gamble for you, I'll gamble for you.
Justin!
No, we're gonna be in the fucking. We're gonna make about a 20-minute stop is all. When I say I'm gonna gamble, it means I'm gonna go play like one hand of blackjack or something.
That night.
Is that enough to buy like $300?
What?
Is that enough to win $300?
Good enough to win?
You don't know how gambling works, do you, Justin?
You don't get to dictate those things.
After at night, we had a blackjack table, or we had like a bunch of different like casino games, and we had a blackjack table, and I was cleaning shit up.
Could you win things? That's illegal.
No, they didn't win.
No, we didn't win real money.
No, I know, but like, I guess nobody would seek it, but couldn't you still make the argument that giving away commodities is still gambling?
No, there are very specific laws about what counts as gambling
Oh, really?
and what doesn't. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Super specific, like
Makes
if
sense.
If it's this many, like 50-50s are okay.
Okay.
It's weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch it out with people.
Bye.